What should the punishment be for the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard if it turns out they did circumvent the salary cap? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications as well. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, obviously the NBA world has been captivated by this situation, the bombshell allegations that the Clippers used a third company to circumvent the salary cap. Aspiration, planting trees. Except no trees got planted, at least not by Kawhi Leonard anyway. And now there's concerns that the Clippers may have circumvented the salary cap. Now, I don't think I've gotten your take on this. You saw Steve Ballmer's appearance on ESPN the other day. Do you buy it? What he's saying? The whole like, I don't know. I have no idea what Kawhi's deal was with Aspiration. I don't know all we did was introduce them, and we don't know anything they talked about from there. We have no clue. He said he doesn't even know how much players make on endorsements. Do you buy any of that? Obviously, I am, skeptical.
Well, firstly, I gotta say timeout, because when you said there were no trees planted by Kawhi, I just got this mental image of Kawhi sitting there manually planting individually 28 million different trees. So I'm not like, I don't know, like I have a tendency to kind of be neutral on things. But with this, I kind of call BS a little bit, because it's a little. Like, I understand that he also reportedly got scammed because, again, like we said before, this is a bigger thing. I mean, unless his money went directly to Kawhi, which I guess could be a possibility, he got scammed in all of this too. So I understand that. And on
Mark
some
Cuban
level,
says Steve Ballmer's too smart to fall for this stuff.
And Torres said the same thing, but Steve said he's embarrassed he didn't find that. So, I mean, he said, she said, right? But
yeah.
On some level, I can understand him not knowing exactly how much players make from endorsements. I think that's understandable and defensible. But the rest of it, I mean, he basically hid behind, I don't know. So plausible deniability, I guess. But I don't know if I can agree with that. Like, it just seems, like I said, a little too out there. Like, some of that stuff is like, how do you not know?
I mentioned this the other day on the channel here that my biggest disappointment was he went on there and we had heard this is provably false from the Clippers, provably false.
Yeah.
Okay. Provably false isn't, I don't know. Like I was expected to see, hey, check that we've got these emails from Aspiration. We've got all this evidence or something, and none of that. And maybe that'll come out with the NBA's investigation. By the way, that's a little bit of news. The NBA did indeed hire a law firm to investigate this situation. It's the same firm that investigated Donald Sterling. So very clearly
they're playing hardball here.
Yeah, the NBA very much taking this seriously. But innocent until proven guilty. Of course, there is a lot of evidence here. There's a lot that looks very fishy. But we want to talk about is if it turns out, if the NBA, their investigation finds that they are guilty, that the Clippers did this, that they circumvented the salary cap, that they found a way to funnel extra money to Kawhi, to Uncle Dennis, to whoever in this situation, what should the ultimate punishment be? And I guess the first question with that is, what is the barrier of proof here? Do you have to, or the burden of proof, do you have to have a smoking gun? Do the NBA need to uncover an email with the subject heading from Steve Ballmer to Aspiration saying, help me circumvent the salary cap, LOL?
That would go a long way.
Right? I mean,
that's very easy.
Is that what they have to find? Or what about the witnesses? Is that enough? If you have 7 witnesses saying, I worked within Aspiration, I know that this was being done to circumvent the salary cap, what is it exactly that they have to prove? And then if they prove it, what is that punishment? Let's get to that right after this. Our great presenting sponsor for the Basketball Bulletin is Sleeper. If you've never heard of the Sleeper app, or more likely you have, here's a little secret. It is more than just a platform for season-long fantasy leagues. This year, there's millions of users playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but the app offers so much more than just that. They have live stats, real-time updates, and visualizations on all stats, something I use every day, the news feed. Get lightning-fast updates on your favorite players and teams, and a real-time chat where you can engage with other users about individual plays and performances during the NFL and NBA season. So download the Sleeper app today. I made a couple of picks here on Sleeper. I'm fired up for the NFL season. I like on the season, Tyler Warren, the rookie with the Colts, more than 550.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to be a really important target for Daniel Jones. And then Zach Charbonnet. Yes, this means I don't think Ken Walker is going to stay healthy the entire season. Zach Charbonnet, 499.5 rushing yards. I think he will be involved in that offense, and he will eclipse that. So make sure you guys do check out the Sleeper app if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me. Check it out. Either way.
Don't forget to enter promo code Bulletin as well upon sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. That's a good looking fellow.
That was a dynamite drop in right there at the end. That was perfect.
Yeah, just sat there waiting for my opportunity.
We'll get better and better at those. So what is that burden of proof in this? Do they have to have the proverbial smoking gun, or is there a certain level of evidence that can be considered circumstantial to where it just adds up and the NBA says, yeah, this looks like, something happened here? And I don't look, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what this burden is, but I think that's going to be a big factor in all of this, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, to me, if you were asking me, again, we're not lawyers, but if you ask me, I think this all it's extremely compelling. I think I've seen enough personally. Like, to me, I think it makes a lot of sense. And obviously we could get more, like Pablo Torre was saying, he's got all these other documents and stuff like that. So if that stuff comes to light, that would just further all of this. You've got the witnesses. Yeah. The link is there. The connection's there. Balmer also owned apparently 3%, which is notable because if he owned 5%, that would have been a problem because he would be giving money to Kawhi as part of all of this. So he owned 3% of the organization as well for Aspiration.
But that was, and he used,
and he purposely pointed out that he owned 3% live with Ramona, and then he also put $50 million in as well, which is funny because they also got $300 million back in endorsements from Aspiration. Right. I just think that's so funny. Like, you're investing and then pulling it back. Like, it's interesting. But
I'm investing, but then they're going to give me money, and then they're going to give Kawhi almost the exact amount that I invested. Which
so that's why I said, like, I've seen enough. Like, to me, it's
you think that's it?
I don't know that they need exactly what we were talking about, like an email that's like quite literally telling you exactly what happened.
Right.
But I think they would have to find something that's like irrefutable. Like, that is not like, oh, just potential hearsay. Like, for example, they've got these people. Well, you could just dismiss that if you want to, unless they can provide literal proof that says, in this document, we allotted X amount of funds to Kawhi, and then the description said cap circumvention or something like that. It's kind of hard to come by that. And so part of me feels like the more that this kind of drags on and we kind of like have more time to process it, think about it, I think there's actually a pretty decent chance that they don't really find that piece that puts it all together, right? But even then, at that point, even if they find something, like, I don't know what the punishment is, because we haven't seen something like this.
Okay, so let's say they do find the smoking gun. Steve Ballmer, people, it's a fallacy to assume, oh no, this person is too smart to do this, so therefore they would never do it. People do dumb stuff all the time. I'm an example. I do dumb stuff all the time.
I mean, he said he's made bad investments and stuff like that. Like, sure. He's not immune to that stuff.
No, and just because you're a billionaire does not make you infallible. That's not the way the world works. And people jump to that conclusion. Oh, he's a billionaire. He must be too smart to do these things. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Now, that said, if the NBA, in the course of their investigation here, the law firm, they find that evidence, they find that smoking gun, whatever it may be, and it is, as you say, irrefutable. Right now, there's a lot of evidence. I think you can come to the conclusion, if you want, that they probably did something wrong here. But let's say you get to the point where it's, wow, this is as concrete as it gets. They did it. They circumvented the salary cap. First of all, Steve Ballmer looks awful because talking about how he wants Clippers fans to trust him and we do everything on the up and up and all this kind of stuff. That would certainly, the optics on that would.
He even said that if he was an opposing owner, he would want this to be investigated.
What else was he going to say? No, they definitely shouldn't investigate. Go soft on him.
No. In hindsight, he just shouldn't have did it in the first place, because he went on. I don't really know what the point of that was. Like, he went on there just to say, I don't know.
That was home field advantage. That was just trying to spin things a little bit. If he really wanted to go refute it, sit down with Pablo.
Yeah.
Sit down with Pablo and refute point for point. But
he was probably advised not to do that.
Yeah, and wisely, I would think. But okay, we've seen the Joe Smith situation in the past, right? And I know people will compare it to that, but that was 25 years ago. And that was just a wink, wink, like, hey, we're going to give you this contract now. It's below market value. But once we get your bird rights, we're going to give you way more later. This was not, we're going to funnel extra money to you through a third party, which is what's being alleged here. So this, in my opinion, should dwarf the Joe Smith punishment, which was a fine, the maximum fine that you can get. You also saw the owner of the Wolves at the time, the general manager, suspended. I think those should be, that's your baseline.
Yeah.
Suspensions for, if this is proven to be true, Balmer, suspensions for anybody involved. Kawhi Leonard's contract could be voided as a result of this. That's what happened.
There was more to this than that, though, because wasn't he also in a situation where he wasn't allowed to play for a year, or he had to leave the team?
He had to leave the team. Yeah, he couldn't go back to the Wolves, so he wound up signing elsewhere. But in terms of the draft picks, that's the biggest thing. Because here's the thing: like, you can find Steve Ballmer if it's 4.5 million, 5.5 million, it's right in there. You can find him. That's a mosquito bite.
That's pocket change.
He won't even notice that. He won't even, and that's part of the reason why the NBA had to change their collective bargaining agreement, because who the hell cares about luxury taxes when you're Steve Ballmer? He has infinity money. He has a cheat code turned on. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how much money you find him. He will not feel it. And so you had to come up with some other ways to discourage him from just spending and spending and spending. And the way they did that was by hurting his ability to actually build out the roster. So the thing that would hurt the most in this, Steve Ballmer can't turn beat red sitting on the sideline anymore if he's suspended for a year or 2 years or whatever. But what would hurt the most is to take draft picks. So people will say, oh, the Clippers don't have any picks. Oh, no, they do. Just they have picks they can't trade because of the stepping rule. But that doesn't mean you can't take those picks away. Yeah. So when it comes to future draft capital, if this is true, and I think the NBA, they have to set an example here. They have to make it clear that this cannot happen. I think you take them all. I think you take every pick the Clippers own. First round, second round, you take them all. That's what I think is the most effective way to not only punish them if, again, they are found guilty here, but also make sure that teams in the future will not try these kind of shenanigans.
But how long, though? Until 2028?
Yeah, I mean, you can go out 7 years. So
okay, 7 years. Okay. All 7 years, every single pick.
All the picks they own. So, I mean, look, like OKC, you can't take the pick away from OKC here.
They only have a few.
Right. The 2027 pick, you're taking away. You're taking away the 2029 pick. If they hang on to it, obviously there's some obligations to Philly. You're taking away 2031. If you really come through with this ruling, you can look at 2032. You could take away any second round picks. They've got their 2028 second round pick. Take that away. 2031. Take that one away. You're gonna. I mean, and part of it is because the Clippers don't have that. If they had like all their picks, if they had a bunch of other teams' picks and stuff, maybe it's a different story. But because they have traded away so many picks, you have to take everything. You have to take all of them away. Now, another thing, if they wanted to get creative, what if we see this in the NBA, we've seen it in the past where an expansion team comes in and they are playing with a shortened salary cap for the first few years. They don't have as much money to spend as the other teams do. Their salary cap is cut off. What if the NBA wanted to get creative and they said, hey, the salary cap for 29 teams is X. The salary cap for the Clippers is Y. What if they wanted to say, hey, the other teams in the NBA have this year, it's 154 million is the salary cap. For the Clippers, it's 135. What if you wanted to go into doing something like that? I mean, that's a little bit outside the box.
If you're going to do that, you could go deeper than that. You could say they can't sign buyout guys. They're going to operate as a second apron team for the next 4 or 5 years, regardless of what they do with their stuff. You could even say they wind up like forfeiting games. I don't know. Like
you automatically have second apron penalties. Well, I don't know they want to do forfeiting games because then you're losing the gate revenue and everything.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, you could say they're a second apron team even if they're not for the next, and then maybe that's where you do the draft pick thing because they would lose those anyway as a result of that for the consecutive years as a second apron, right?
Yeah. So the point has been made too, like, if let's say you voided Kawhi's contract and you removed him from the Clippers and you said you can sign with another team, but you're forbidden from signing with the Clippers. And by the way, maybe there should be potentially some punishments here coming for Kawhi Leonard as well.
Kawhi too, yeah.
In this situation, he is not. We focus on the Clipper side of it, but Kawhi probably not blameless in all this, especially when Balmer on TV is asked about the Uncle Dennis thing and didn't exactly deny that they were asking for stuff that was clearly.
Hey man, you're allowed to ask.
You're allowed to ask, but
you're allowed to ask. I mean, you could ask all you want, but there's nothing against that. But as long as it's not fulfilled, that's a whole different thing.
You're telling me that Uncle Dennis didn't know that asking for part ownership of a hockey team is against the rules. That asking for jets and houses and things is not against the rules. I think.
I mean, you could ask for whatever you want. You could know it, but as long as they don't fulfill it. I mean, that's literally true. Like they could ask for whatever they want.
Sure, you could ask.
Just don't do it. But so like that, to me, that part didn't really matter too much to me because it's like he may be in a situation where he thinks they're going to do it and all this stuff, so he's going to ask. Closed mouths don't get fed. So I
think it's more setting the example that showing the example that the Kawhi, his group, like they're doing some underhanded stuff, right? Like that's.
I don't think that. I mean, we already know that, like, because there's already reports that they've been asking for a bunch.
Oh, sure, but when on national TV, Balmer is asked about that, and he's not able to say no. They don't do that stuff. Like,
that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just more. I guess it's just more proof that that kind of stuff is really happening. Now, the point was made though that hey, if you're the Clippers and Kawhi's contract is voided and he can't re-sign with your team, is that actually a punishment? You now don't get to pay Kawhi Leonard $50 million
for 2 years because you were probably going to move on from him anyway.
For 2 years, but you now have that money. Like, is that actually a bad thing? Like, if the Clippers right now could just erase Kawhi from their team and the $100 million they owe him over the next 2 seasons, I can't say for sure they would do it, but would they think about it? Probably.
Yeah, but as part of this punishment, you could say that sits on your books.
Yeah. So say he's off your team, but you still have that money.
Yeah, you can say that.
And that money goes into a pool that gets distributed to the other NBA team.
You could. I mean, you said you want to get creative, but you could do a lot of different things here. Like you could. Creative. I mean, you could even make it to where it stretches out, like 100 million stretched out. You could do a lot of things.
You want to get really creative? You can make them display replica banners of all of the Lakers championships in their building, since they were so concerned about the Lakers banners at Staples Center.
Stop. That's terrible. That's going too far, man. Balmer would he would be so pissed at that.
Well, he's not even going to be in the building. He's going to be suspended in this scenario.
He's going to be watching on TV, pissed off. Another thing too is that the worst thing for Kawhi? And see, like that's where it's interesting because Kawhi would be on the market and he would be in a position where he would take a far below market value and go somewhere and win a chip and then probably get a big contract right after that.
But that's the problem. Like right now, like the Thunder have some spending power.
Exactly.
Do we want the end result of this to be Kawhi Leonard joins the Thunder and adds another defensive wing to their team and he only has to play 15 minutes a night and he's going to maybe win a championship? Is that what we want the end result to be for Kawhi? And that's something the NBA would have to consider too.
Yeah. I mean, we see like that. It's so much easier to kind of put that stuff against the Clippers than it is to Kawhi. I mean, like what happens to Kawhi? Can they say you're not able to play for the rest of this year? And is that even the worst thing for Kawhi either? Because maybe he has things he needs to rehab. Like, who knows? Like,
maybe. I mean, for Kawhi Leonard, who's 34 years old, going into his age 34 season,
there's no limited amount of time left.
Yeah, right. So, but that will be interesting to see. What if it turns out Kawhi is obviously part of this conversation? He knew what he was doing was not right. That said, somebody puts a contract in front of you and says, we're going to give you $28 million to do nothing. Like
48
or what? Maybe it was 48, right? Here's some stock on the side.
That's too good to be true.
Like how did he is a secret side deal to his secret side deal?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
What are the chances that Kawhi actually has plausible deniability in all of this because it was really Uncle Dennis operating for Kawhi? Could you imagine?
I don't know, man. But his signature's on it.
I mean, maybe he just handed him a bunch of papers and said, "Hey, we need you to sign these."
I mean, then that's I mean, negligence. That's just being
Yeah,
dumb,
yeah,
signing something you don't know what you're signing. Um, so
yeah,
look, in terms of the punishment, we can get creative with this,
yeah.
but I
There's a
think that
lot.
the bottom line is if they do find this smoking gun, whatever it is, whatever the burden of proof is, if that gets met, the NBA, Adam Silver, who everybody kind of rolls their eyes and says, "Oh, Silver's not going to do anything. He's soft." All that kind of stuff. No, they need to drop Mjolnir on the Clippers. This needs to be not just a punishment. This needs to be a warning to anybody else who might consider doing something like this in the future. Because and it's not even just an integrity of the game; it's a structure of the game. It's the goals of the league are at stake here. If owners find out it's just a slap on the wrist or something like that, if they do, like for example, tampering violations right now, what's the penalty for tampering? Oh, maybe you lose a second round pick in the future or something like that. That's generally what we've seen. Is that enough to really dissuade anybody from talking to a free agent before the buzzer sounds and free agency officially begins? Hell no.
And it's
Hell no.
not
Teams are
common
going to do
enough.
it anyway.
They don't do it enough. They do it every so often selectively. They don't do it enough. Like if
What?
you come out with the tampering stuff,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of backroom tampering and that I'm sure they
Exactly.
know about, but they just don't punish it enough. They only do it when you're somebody like Magic Johnson going on TV and like they have no choice but to do it.
Well, exactly. And that's if you're going to throw it in their face, the NBA's face, of course, they're
Yeah,
going
they
to
have no
punish you for it.
choice.
But that kind of stuff is much more difficult to police. And I don't think the NBA wants to be in the business of policing that. But is it the end of the world if teams are talking to free agents a few days early, a few weeks early? No, that doesn't necessarily change the whole integrity of the game itself. What we're talking about here is a different category.
Yeah,
We're funneling players' money outside of the salary cap, both in terms of the luxury tax system as well as the competitive environment of the NBA, the security of that competitive environment in terms of not allowing an owner who has infinity money to utilize that money in a way that would allow him to just buy championships effectively. That has to be protected. And so again, I've said it before, and people are mad at me for saying it. I hope it turns out they are innocent. I hope that legitimately they didn't do anything wrong because I don't think that's good for the NBA. People say, "What as a Lakers guy, why shouldn't you want bad things for the Clippers?" No, I want the good of the league, right? I want the league to be strong. I don't want the league to go through a scandal like this.
Mm-hmm.
If it turns out they did it, drop that hammer. You have to come down hard here on the Clippers, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, we don't want to see stuff like this for any team, Clippers or otherwise. We don't want to see stuff like this, potentially anyway, for any teams involved, because it's just drama around the league that we don't necessarily need, right?
Yep.
While it's fun to talk about, we don't need this stuff. But if this is ultimately something that they did and it's provable that they did this, I think that you have to do everything. Like we threw out some creative stuff. I don't know if some of that stuff is fair enough, or maybe it's too far, maybe it's not far enough. I don't know. I'm not the one that has to decide that.
Well,
but
people should let us know in the comment section
for sure.
For sure.
And if you're a Laker fan, you're going to want to see all that and more.
Hang the Lakers banners in their building.
The Laker fans have been so happy about this. They have been, the comments have been so
well.
Funny,
Clippers fans have been like, Lakers fans are the worst, and all of this, and they've been upset. The 12 of them have been really angry. But
stop. You thought that was going to slide? Stop.
I couldn't help myself. I apologize. You know why? You know what you do? Make them trade buildings.
Oh my God.
We'll give you the 25-year-old, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
The crypto.com arena, and we'll take your shiny new building
with all the toilets too. All the toilets you could ever have. But yeah, in all seriousness, if it's provable, you have to do everything if you're Adam Silver to make an example out of this situation, because you can't have this being something that's perceived as light and worth the cost of doing this with other organizations and other stars. Like they can't look at this and say, "Oh, that's it. Okay, shoot, give me LeBron, and we're going to give him $100 million on the table." Whatever. I guess maybe not the best example because he's 41, but you know what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Giannis, right?
Yeah,
Giannis's free agency is coming up in a couple years. Maybe. Sorry, Bucks fans. Maybe. You don't want. Hey, Giannis just took $10 million less signing with the Clippers. What?
Oh man.
What? Oh, he's getting an extra 100 million on the side somewhere, like, and you just take a
Crazy.
slap on the wrist. This can't be like the Mighty Ducks 2 minutes, well worth it situation. You can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, referencing my generation here, but you can't have that be the ultimate end result of this. Of like, well, yeah, I mean, if we get caught, we get caught. The punishment is worth it. We'll deal with that.
Yeah.
You need it to be, oh, nobody's ever messing with this again. That's
Yeah,
what you
sure.
need this to be.
For sure. And that Joe stuff isn't exactly that, I think.
No, Joe Smith.
No, but also at the same time, that was a unique situation that they probably wouldn't have even found out if the legal stuff didn't pop up anyway. So I wonder how they would have looked at that in hindsight. Like, wait, why did he sign all these below market deals, then blow up to get a huge contract? But ultimately with this, I mean, I'm happy that if this is true, it's out there and we're going to find more about it from here.
Yep. All right, everybody, give us your thoughts in the comments down below. What should happen to the Clippers, to Kawhi Leonard, if, big if, it turns out that they did circumvent the salary cap? Let us know again in that comment section. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.